Hi everyone, here today for our Tuesday talks. Absolutely delighted to have a great guy and fellow coach that I know, Alex Hanley. I'm going to let Alex introduce himself here. As you know, myself and Gaye Moore are doing these Tuesday talks, human conversations for business people, where we are speaking to the real raw humans behind their businesses, the challenges we face, and reconnecting with our why. So Alex, pleasure to have you here with me. Can you just introduce yourself?
Thank you very much for having me.
And tell us who you are, what you do, and we'll go from there.
Okay, well, thank you very much for having me, first of all. I'm Alex Hanley, and I'm a change coach, or at least that's kind of the brand I've settled with at the moment. So I trained as a life and executive coach, but to be honest, I don't like the term life coach. It doesn't sit very well with me. Exactly. But look, I'm not here to advise people on their lives. And I suppose that really kind of ties into my why. Is I was kind of stuck in a point in my life where I didn't know what I wanted to do for a living. I was stuck in a job that I fell into by accident, just happened to be good at it. But it was so out of whack with my values, which I had no idea what values were at the time either.
Yeah.
But it was through kind of really getting to a breaking point where I had to make a change. Something had to happen, and I started trying to assess like what I was good at, what I enjoyed, and I realized that a lot of people kind of came to me with their problems, and people were willing to open up and chat to me and kind of have real, genuine conversations. So I thought counselling was kind of what I might be good at. So did a course in counselling, really enjoyed it. But what I always found was that I didn't like getting into the kind of the grief side of things, or the digging up the past, that sort of stuff. And I really enjoyed the conversations that, people got energy out of, and, people would walk away from feeling positive. So I thought, counselling is something for me. So I signed up to do a 4-year degree course in it. And in the space between that, I had come across a podcast with a life coach. Weirdly enough, I had no idea what a life coach was. Thought it was like this airy-fairy guru type that celebrities in LA would have. And you know what? Straight off the bat, I was like, what this person is saying about coaching, this is what I want to do. This is the parts of counselling that I really enjoy. And I did a little bit more research into it, got in touch with the particular coach, had a chat, kind of figured out, this is what I want to look at doing. So cancelled the counselling course and signed up to do coaching.
Yeah.
So I'm in the process of trying to kind of get the coaching business off the ground, get in contact with people. The kind of client that I love working with is the person that was in the position that I was in. Kind of, they were lost, they're a bit frustrated, and just looking for direction, or trying to figure out what their purpose is.
Yeah.
So they're the clients I love working with.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? The part about the counselling and the coaching is really interesting, because I'm somebody who's been counselled in the past from a grief perspective, obviously from when my mum died suddenly, and as much as at the time it served its purpose, and it was very valuable, and there's a time and a place for counselling in people's lives, I feel, when you're ready for it and open to it. I did feel sometimes though that it kind of left me very kind of stuck, and that's no disrespect to some counselors out there, that's not the case. I addressed that in the counselling, and eventually got moving forward. But I think the thing with the coaching which is very, very different to counselling, is that it does not deal with those deep rooted, hard emotional areas that kind of people can get very much stuck in and need to heal first. And I think that's what the the counselling part is for. It really is the healing piece. And it's only when you heal are you ready to move forward in that, but whether that's your life or your career or your business or whatever it is, when you've addressed all that really deep rooted stuff, which I've had to do myself. And anybody that certainly comes to me from a coaching perspective, they're not counselled by me. I won't deal with anybody if I think they need counselling. Not that I'm there to tell them that they should have it, but I would always say maybe coaching isn't for you at the time. And people are pretty much open to that. They'll know whether they're ready or not, but it's not for me to counsel or to tell or to heal or to do any of that, as we know as coaches, So it's interesting to see. What do you feel has been the biggest challenge for you getting to the point where you are, setting up your business and reaching out there and, putting your voice out there and just showing up consistently and being you in your business? What's the biggest challenge you face around that?
I think the biggest challenge is the fact that, like, at the end of the day, I'm still human. So I still suffer from frustration, and I think when you're training to be a coach, you learn about self-development and you learn about self-management and all of that sort of stuff. And yes, it has been a great advantage to kind of keep resilient when you keep knocking on the door and it doesn't necessarily open, or you try something and it doesn't work, so you have to move on to something else. Or figuring out your niche can be tough. Or figuring out kind of what works for you, figuring out what you or what I as a person enjoy kind of has been an interesting learning curve. But as resilient as my coaching training has kind of made me, I'm still human at the end of the day. So I still do get bogged down sometimes with frustration and things not happening as quick as I want them to. And I think actually something that I've realized in the last couple of weeks is, as much as I hate to admit it, I think I've suffered from the generational want of immediacy. So I think, like, I've grown up with obviously access to the internet and mobile phones, and like the entire history of human knowledge in my pocket. So if I want to know something, I can know it straight away. Or if I want to watch something, I can watch it straight away. And then when you decide that you want something to happen, like say you want to have your own business or you want to be a success, I think there's a little part of your brain, whether you want to admit it or not, that goes, well, I want it to happen now. So I think that's been a big frustration, is learning to kind of trust in the process, enjoy the journey, enjoy the struggle of it as well. But yeah, the on-demand culture, I think, has been a big learning curve to try and get used to.
That's just the whole instant gratification piece that we're all accustomed to, and obviously I'm in an older generation now, in my 40s, and we certainly didn't grow up with mobile phones or tablets in our hands. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a good or a bad thing, but we have morphed. I've morphed into that as well, and from my generation. And I think instant gratification is something we have to learn to kind of put up emotional resilience around, and learn how to put practices in place that helps us slow down our brains from going into that type of thinking, and learning how do you delay gratification in a business? You just have to wait. That's it. There's going to be a delay. There's going to be a big delay, and that's the thing. So what coping strategies would you use in that regard to kind of get yourself out of those defunct moments or those downward spirals?
Well, I think a big thing for me has been journaling.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't have been on my radar before I started coaching at all. And even kind of a couple of months after I'd finished the training and stuff, it wasn't something that I kept up. But I've found, now that I've gone back to it the last couple of months, it's a great way of kind of just breaking down your day into a day. And I'm not trying to rush 10 steps ahead and go, well, here's my big goal and focusing just on that.
Yeah.
Breaking it down to kind of a a daily or a weekly kind of, well, what's my plan for today, or where do I go here? And it does make it a little bit more mindful of what's happening in the present than focusing on, well, where am I trying to get to, or am I there yet? So I think that's been a huge way of kind of slowing things down a little bit, really focusing a bit better, and
right.
It kind of helps with the accountability piece as well, because at least I'm committing something to paper and I'm not just thinking it.
So when you say, you find the journaling helps you in the context of it slows down your mind and it brings you into the present moment and where you are at now, in a way, I connect with that because, look, now I need to get back journaling, and my handwriting, I've just had it analysed by the lovely Marie Antoinette Marino. Phenomenal insights, but I need to get back to journaling myself because my handwriting again has gone to shite, so I need to get back into it, freehand writing. But I think what I connect with what you're saying there in that piece is like sometimes I think we can think too far ahead, and there's a lot of pressure in society to have your goals set for a year ahead in your business and 3 years ahead and 5 years, and you're like, oh my god, I don't even know my goals for tomorrow sometimes, and that's the human piece. And I think you have to be able to adapt. I got into this funk of having to do loads of lists before, and I love lists. I was on, I love lists on the Excel and everything when I worked in the insurance industry and all, and I was, I love lists, get my hands on them. Then I got really pissed off writing them because I was finding what I was doing as I was going into them and going, I was writing so many things that I wanted to do in that week or day that if I didn't get it done, I was knocking myself back further instead of making it more manageable and in the present moment and more realistic. And I did buy myself a journal for this year, for 2019, and it's kind of structured in a way that tomorrow I'll write down 2 or 3 things. The most important, there are 2 or 3 of the most important things, instead of writing a big long list and then thinking about 6 months ahead in my business or a year ahead. And a lot of business people would be looking at me and going, you fucking mad? You mad? My goals mapped out for 5 years. And I'm like going, but it's very individual. It's very individual.
It is.
And I think that's why we shouldn't compare,
No.
As humans and as business owners, we shouldn't compare. Comparison is the thief of time, and one of the biggest causes of procrastination in my business. So it's something I try to avoid doing.
Absolutely, and I think
it's interesting, but everybody's different, and as I said, you do what works for you, and sometimes we have to turn down the volume to actually figure out really, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? And why is it important to me? And again, they're, questions we ask in coaching and stuff, and creating that space to see, So the journaling is going well for you. So that's good to hear. And you've prompted me again now, after looking at my handwriting earlier, to get back into that as well. The values piece in your business, because this is a question I love asking people, even from a coaching perspective. And I'm not coaching you now, but just the values piece behind your business. What are the values you think people connect within you, and what is your core value in your business, effectively?
I suppose the core value would be openness. Now, I'm loath to use the word authenticity.
I know, we were talking about this earlier.
Obviously, that's really important. Look,
you can't get away from the words. Don't get me wrong.
No, but it seems like a bit of an overused word nowadays. But
it's just overused from a marketing perspective. But in reality, I think, as we were speaking about this before, people can see through it, and I think if they get your values, they'll get it.
Yeah, and I suppose the way I approach my business and my clients is I'm open in that I'm quite upfront, I'm direct, but I'm honest in the fact that if I'm having a one-on-one conversation with somebody, or if I'm having a conversation with a group of people, or whatever, I'm showing up as me. I'm there. I will listen to somebody's point of view. I'm open to new perspectives, and I suppose that's kind of a big thing that I've found that works is really getting to explore a new perspective with people. And in order to do that, you have to be open to it. So
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah, I think, and it's one thing that I found with myself, and I've tried to bring it into the business then as well, is that if I'm struggling with something or trying to figure something out, is to be open to changing my perspective on something or to challenge my idea on something. And if that's about asking myself a different question, or, open to exploring something that's maybe totally left field, or, whatever it might be, I think openness and authenticity would be big ones.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's interesting because and again, you have to have courage to do that as a business owner and a human in overall, like courage to be open and courage to be open-minded to other people's values and beliefs and perspectives, and practice, I suppose, resilience in the sense that I suppose in the coaching industry, like you can't be fazed by what shows up in front of you, and that's the openness piece. I don't react to anything anymore, but it's a skill I've had to practice for a long time, because I used to react to everything, reactive, and now I'm kind of responsive, and that is something I continually have to train myself on, and the questions we have to ask ourselves as well around that, or when I see my triggers or triggers that could show up in other people in life and business, it's becoming really aware of that, isn't it? And I think that's, as you say, Alex, earlier, we're all human, and sometimes we can try and fit into molds as coaches, as life coaches, as executive coaches, as career coaches. And the biggest thing I've seen in my business, as you say, with the power of being vulnerable, as we use that word again, to be yourself, is that people want something different. I noticed that in the coaching industry myself, even from the type of clients that come to me. They don't want the usual, the norm, the scripted, they want me. I've been defined by some of my clients as a non-traditional coach or career coach and stuff, which to me, I was like, yeah, that's what he's going for. so yeah, it is. And people want change. They consistently want change. And again, it's because it's probably the instant gratification thing as well, because we're so used to being able to get things straight away that we get bored very easy. So, we become, we don't want to listen to other people's perspectives then, unless they're continually adapting and changing and giving us something new. And I think I don't know about you with your clients, but like the biggest thing I see is people want to find out something new about themselves that they just haven't had before,
Yeah, I was just gonna say that the one thing that I found has been the biggest kind of success area that I found with nearly all of my clients has been, they might come to me looking to make a career change, or they're not happy in their job and they're a bit lost and they don't know what to do. But the vast majority of them have never kind of sat down and looked at their values and their beliefs. Yeah. And then when they start to get to know themselves, or they start to get to know why they think the way they think, or start to recognize patterns of thinking, and people have kind of said to me that they didn't, or they've started to become friends with themselves almost.
Yeah.
Or kind of are able to think things through much better when they have a better sense of where their thoughts are coming from.
And they have a better relationship with themselves. Yeah. And, you have to be your own best friend. I think have compassionate in that regard.
Absolutely. And the only way you can do that is by really sitting down and doing that kind of deep work to figure out.
Hard though. It's hard work, isn't it? That's why so many people don't want to do it. They run away from it. And I ran away from it for years.
But I haven't gone through it myself. Absolutely. And I say to people all the time, I'm my most regular client. And half of that is just sitting down and going, well, hang on, why am I thinking this way? Oh yeah, okay, I know, because X, Y, and Z. but yeah, and it's I suppose it's about getting to know yourself and being able to enjoy your own company. Because look, at the end of the day, the only person that you're going to be stuck with from the day you're born to the day you die is yourself. So
yeah. Do you know what I was
why not make
listening
yourself your
to?
best?
I was running out the door today to bring my dad to an appointment, and the radio was turned on in the kitchen, and there was a guy who'd wrote a book on it, and I didn't catch his name, but he was being interviewed, but he had this great question. And it just blew me away because I thought about it when I was driving into my dad, and it was, how do you use your life? It's a really powerful question. Like, how do you use your?
That
I'm
is a
not
good
asking
question.
you to answer it for me. Don't get me
No,
wrong,
but
like,
yeah,
how do you use your life? And the tail end part of it that he spoke of then was like, we're all, as human beings, our natural instinct is that we want to create. We're creative naturally, okay? And what we do is, over the years, some of us suppress that creativity, and this is how we get so demotivated and so bored and so pissed off and stuck in these downward spirals, that we just can't, we can't find our way out. And that's where the creative thinking comes in. That's how embracing creativity in yourself and your mind and your body, whether that's training, I know you do a lot of physical training as well, like myself, or whether that's sketching or whether that's journaling, any of that stuff. We want to create things, and I think in life we want to create a legacy. In business, we want to create a legacy. I just say that to some business owners, what do you want your clients to say about you when your business is gone? Different things. We want creativity somewhere. So, I just thought the question was phenomenal. Like, how, I was thinking about myself, how do I use my life? What am I creating? I was just phrased in a different way, but it was really interesting. It's a powerful question, isn't it? I'll let you use it again with one of your clients.
Yeah, I might write that down after this.
How do you use your life? Yeah, interesting.
That's a good
So,
question.
anything else showing up, Alex, in your life or your work that that's challenging or that's brilliant? Or have you any strategies or even coaching questions like I've given you there that you find really helpful to kind of build momentum and get you or clients over the dips or the out of the slump?
Well, I suppose one kind of not so much strategy, but one kind of thing that I found works really well is just getting a client who's stuck to assess where they are now.
Yeah.
And I suppose looking at the challenges that are in front of them from a different perspective. My huge kind of thing that I love doing is reframing. So taking a situation and just looking at it from 10 different angles or 3 different angles or until something clicks. So I find that's a really effective tool for using. I suppose the asking more as well. Like powerful question around kind of, but what else is there? Or really pushing people, because I could probably be seen as quite a challenging coach, but it's kind of from a positive point of view. Like I don't tend to let people off the hook with their first answer.
Yeah, because there's always
I think
something else.
there's usually
there's
exactly.
And
I think that's a thing that a lot of people are missing in their lives is kind of challenge. And like you find out with people who are big into physical training, as you mentioned, that that challenge that they get regularly kind of really helps them to kind of stay connected to that. But I think that needs to carry over into your mindset as well. Like if your mindset isn't being challenged, it stagnates. So I think that's
I think the challenge, for me and I do with the physical training is it resets you know, that adrenaline helps reset my brain. It helps balance off the cortisol from the stress, dopamine, you name it, all the hormones are coming out. And, you know, that in its own right helps me think outside the box and show up as who I am and create, as I spoke about earlier, using my life to create and have impact. And that's very different for everybody. That could be sketching, it could be walking, it could be anything. Everybody has their own thing that you know, does it for them. And I think sometimes finding that can be difficult because people don't create the space to explore what it is that really works for them. And I think that's where coaching can be really powerful in that sense, because people find that they find those answers there, you know. And as I said, you're somebody like myself who does a bit of weightlifting and weight training, aren't you? You do powerlifting, don't you?
Yeah, I've had to kind of take a bit of a break from it the last kind of 2 or 3 months with an elbow injury, but I'm still kind of keeping light weights going. But yeah, I'm
and again, that's the thing about weightlifting, isn't it? Like, people seem to think like it's, oh, you have to be lifting real heavy and stuff. You don't, like, you know, I mean, you know, it's your form and it's the effect it has on you and the feel good hormones. It doesn't have to be, I'm going into the gym today to lift 200 kilograms. It could be 20 kilograms. It doesn't matter. You know, I remember when I started weight training, it's like, oh, I'm going to have like loads of weight in my back. And people were like, it's not about that. And again, I think that's sometimes the pressure we put on ourselves to get to a level where we want to be at too quick, when, you know, we realize, hang on a second, we've got to slow down here and take step backs and recover, go back to it. And that's the thing. It's like, acknowledge that you can take the step back, have the resilience to know that, you know, you're strong enough to go back when you're ready, and not just throw it all away because you can't do it for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, because that would have been something I would have fallen into years ago. I can't run 5k or I can't walk 5k. You know, I'm not going to even try and do one, or, you know, you've got to be resilient enough to know that you can go back to things. That's really important. The last I seen of one of your blogs there as well, I was having a nosy, was you had jumped out of an airplane. Was that true? This is on my bucket list. I'm getting really excited about this now.
Well, just do it. Just do absolutely it. Do it.
You're high to do it.
The story behind that was it's
Brilliant.
Something that has been on my bucket list for years. But I was absolutely terrified of heights. Like, I couldn't climb a ladder without freaking out.
Proper feel the fear.
Yeah, so myself and my wife were over in Vegas for our 5-year anniversary, and we both were turning. Thanks. We were both turning 30 around the same time, and I wanted to kind of mark it by doing something totally scary. Vegas was a great place to do it because, you know, it's clear air. I think the crowd that we went with, there was one company did 10,000 feet, and then another company did 15,000 feet. Mm. So I kind of said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it properly. So
direct yourself. You stressed yourself.
Absolutely. You know, there's no point doing it if you're not going to stretch yourself.
Look at me getting all excited about it.
But we got really lucky that when we got picked up from kind of outside the hotel, there was about a 20-minute bus ride or van ride out to the airfield. But as soon as you got into it, everybody was into the van. Everybody was in the same boat. Nobody had done it before. Everybody was excited, but the driver made everybody feel really relaxed and, you know, looking forward to it. But we got lucky that when we got there, we were whisked into suits straight away, and we had the harnesses on even while they were signing us up. So there was no time to kind of stop.
There was no going back. I love it.
And I think we were there maybe 10 minutes, and we were standing next to the plane waiting to get into it. But it was this tiny little plane. It was no bigger than a Ford Transit. There was, I think, 5 of us went up on the first load, and we were at 15,000 feet in about 3 minutes.
Wow.
There's no sitting and waiting, thinking about it. Now, it's weird getting into a plane with the door open. That's very strange.
Yeah.
But think I was second out of the plane, and I remember thinking that the guy who was going first, everybody was doing tandem jumps, but the guy who was going first, his instructor scooted him onto the floor next to the open door, and they waited for about 2 minutes before they jumped. So I was thinking, there's no way I can sit next to that door for 2 minutes, without freaking out. But when they went out first, I got scooted over immediately straight away, and before I knew it, we were out of the plane.
Brilliant.
But what got me was the only instruction they gave us was to cross your arms like that and tuck your feet underneath the plane when you sit on the edge. So they were saying that was really important. You had to make sure to tuck your feet. And as he kind of swung us out, I was concentrating so much on getting my feet underneath me that I didn't realize he pushed us out of the plane. And I was kind of, all of a sudden, I was going, why is the plane up there? And then I freaked out.
You were out before you even knew it.
Yeah.
There's obviously distraction
So,
for them to just...
I think so. Yeah, because there's
embedded in that madness, Alex, I'd say.
Absolutely. But it was an absolutely incredible experience.
Oh, I'd say. What was your biggest takeaway from it?
Stop overthinking things. I think that was the big thing, because how many people do skydives every year? And how many people...
Let's Google it. We'll get the stats, will we? Yeah, how many people do?
But you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? And how many people have a bad story out of it? Virtually none. So what was the point of worrying about something happening? So yeah, it was about getting out of my own head and just enjoying it.
Yeah. What's the worst that can happen? What's the best that can happen? Exactly. Absolutely.
Exactly.
I love it. I loved your blog on it. It was brilliant. So kudos to you on that. It was brilliant.
Much.
Absolutely brilliant. So yeah. What can I say, Alex? It's been a pleasure talking to you. And I know you've kind of rebranded your business in the past couple of months as well, which I thought was phenomenal. I thought your branding and stuff was brilliant on it. So can you tell us the name of your website, where we can find you, and your blog? Well, your blog is going to be your website anyway, but...
Yeah, so the business is The Bearded Coach. And the website is literally just www.thebeardedcoach.ie. All of the social stuff is all The Bearded Coach. So yeah, it's an easy one to remember, hopefully, because I'm a coach and I have a beard. I do.
Yeah, your branding is lovely. I've seen the new branding, so well done. It's very effective, and it is you. It's very you, and you wear it well. You are on LinkedIn, Twitter, or Instagram. You're on LinkedIn anyway, because we're connected.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook.
And
Twitter, I haven't got a handle on. Yeah, LinkedIn, Twitter, or LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook.
Right.
Twitter, I haven't got I don't understand Twitter yet. That's a future me problem.
Yeah, and you don't need to be everywhere. Again, it's very important. We don't need to be everywhere. Listen, Alex, an absolute pleasure talking to you. Keep in touch, and we know where to find you now, Alex. And have an absolutely brilliant Tuesday. Take care.
Thank you very much, Pauline.
Stop.